buckle up, guys. We have some brand new leaks for the Dragon Ball Super manga, and I'm telling you right now, here and now, guys, that these are all over the place in terms of whether they're good, they're bad, and honestly quite insightful into what's going on in the manga, and makes me look at certain things a different way, specifically the Moro arc. So let's go ahead and jump in because these just came out and I can say exactly what I'm talking about, give you guys my unfettered thoughts. Thank you Tokyo Treat and Sakurako for sponsoring today's video. Is there somebody at the door? I know Koda, you're excited. Let's see who's out here. What the? Kari, did you bring today's monthly Sakurako and Tokyo Treat subscription boxes? Good girl. Spring is almost over in Japan, but you can still get a taste of Sakura season from the comfort of your own home. This month, Tokyo Treat and Sakurako are inviting you to join in on the Yozakura experience, which is the Japanese tradition of viewing cherry blossoms at night. The beautifully designed cherry blossoms boxes contain exclusive and seasonal snacks that won't be available once spring is over. Tokyo Treat is a monthly pop Japanese snack subscription box where you will get 20 of the latest, most exclusive limited edition and seasonal flavored Japanese snacks. But let's not forget Sakurako, which is a monthly authentic Japanese snack subscription box that supports local Japanese snack makers. Each box comes with 20 traditional, authentic, and artisan Japanese snacks, including Japanese teas and a special Japanese tableware. We love the sweet and salty spring chips that are sold at cherry blossom festivals that have a tremendous sweet and salty umami flavor, as well as the piccolo sakura matcha that kind of sounds like piccolo. But our favorite sweet comes from the Sakurako box, the Ichigo roll, a soft and tender sponge dough that is tinted in shades of red and white and has a tangy strawberry cream. Each box comes with a booklet that tells you what the treat is, the story behind them, and a full allergen and ingredient list. Check out this month's boxes with my links in the description in the top comment below. Don't miss out on this opportunity to experience the Sakura season in a fun and delicious way. First and foremost, I 100% believe at this point and now that the Dragon Ball Super superhero movie lost a lot of what charisma it could have had by being CGI. Now don't get me wrong, the CGI was cool, change of pace, it was interesting, and it wasn't bad per se, but it has nothing on traditional artwork, on traditional animation. Granted, we are not getting traditional animation here in this manga, but we are getting to see what these fights actually look like, and you can just tell the difference between the character. Side by side, the character is the main difference here. The CGI looks extremely stiff and at some points dated in comparison to the actual manga panels. And at this point now, I'm saying, yo, Toyotaro, great idea on redoing the superhero arc in the manga, because I can see why it kind of was necessary. I think that Toyotaro is doing this as a passion project at this point because it just looks so much better in the manga. This fight, the fight with the Gammas against Piccolo, it just looks way better than it did CGI. It's just, there's so much charisma, there's so much impact, there's so much frenetic and frantic energy, expression. Even in this scene right here where Goku has this expression, the expression in the manga is so much better. It looks so stiff inside the CGI fight. Granted, the Goku versus Vegeta fight isn't the best fight in that movie. I would say the best fight in that movie was probably maybe Piccolo versus Cell Max. I think that was probably the most interesting fight in that movie. But still, like, look at the difference in all this. This is crazy how different it looks. And I feel like I feel like we're being treated a little bit here in being able to see this like the way I feel like it's supposed to be seen. So from summarizing the entire manga itself, everything is what it is. The manga is essentially bringing us to, as you can see here, DBS Chronicle says, 48 minutes and 35 seconds into the DBS superhero movie, which seems kind of a bummer. Yes, it feels like we're kind of wasting months now with the superhero manga because of the fact that we've already seen this kind of stuff, even though I just have been harping on the fact that it looks better in the manga than it did in the actual anime, I do have to be real with you guys and say that this stuff could have just been skipped altogether. I would have been fine skipping this. To my more positive side of these leaks, look at Chile. You know for a fact Toyo went up to the mountains of artists before him, Toriyama Mountain, and decided to study with the artisans and the masters up there and the clerics up there to be able to draw Chile in such a better way, such a better look than she had in the actual movie. Like, this Chile looks gorgeous. Not saying that in the movie she looked terrible, but with CGI and just the limitations of that and the way she was looking, to me, she didn't look like all that. But this, I mean, look at that. You know Toyotaro took his time. He was waiting for these scenes. If Bulma was the first scene he wanted to redraw, then this is the second scene. I would imagine Bulma getting her new butt, probably the third scene. Toyotaro definitely has that dog in him. We finally get to see a slither of Ikari in the transformation when Goku's pushing Broly, so that was kind of neat in the manga. We didn't really get to see that too much in the movie itself, and seeing that for the first time in the manga really is kind of cool. I like that Goku is trying to push his limits and as a good master pushing Broly beyond his comfort zone, and I like that. This is the one scene that I believe in the entirety of the superhero arc that has been completely improved substantially from the actual movie, and that is when Vegeta is meditating and Goku's not stupid, not knowing meditation. But in this interaction with the translations, Vegeta says something a little bit different than what he said before, because before, when I was doing the leaks, it was that Jiren had been meditating, he doesn't exert too much energy, and that's kind of where Vegeta wants to be so he can kind of master his ultra ego form. Instead of Vegeta just talking about Jiren, he actually talks about not only Jiren but Broly, Moro, Gas, and Frieza, and the reason that he was no match for any of these guys in the last couple of years. We've trained our bodies to their limits, we've trained ourselves to the point where they're just a step above us. However, we use our power differently, we still waste too much of it. To unleash 100% of our strength, we need to relax our body and mind when not attacking. When you attack from zero, your opponent can read your moves, you have great instantaneous power, plus you conserve your stamina. They could do it, but I can't, so I'm training to do it in my mind first. Now, before you guys get the pitchforks and say that Broly doesn't do that, here's where I think where he's got a point here. Okay, so he's saying that he goes from zero and he conserves and uses all that ki, which is crazy to think about because in Dragon Ball Multiverse, their new forms literally do not waste any ki. So if you want to know more about that, I'm gonna leave a link in the description below. But in this, he's saying the exact same thing as Multiverse, and he's saying that these guys do not waste ki. Now, Jiren, we already know, doesn't waste ki, and he trains with meditation, and he's always pinpoint accurate with his attacks, and he just doesn't waste any body movement. He always reserves everything. But Moro, Gas, and Frieza, and Broly. So let's start with Broly. Broly, I think in this instance, it's not about him wasting energy. I think he wastes a lot of energy. He's just the same like everybody else, but I think his abundance of it, he's got so much of it, it doesn't really matter. He could waste as much as he wants. He still is at that point where he's like just so focused. Somebody like Broly actually got focused and decided not to waste any energy, they'd be in trouble. Gas is the other one that I'm actually also interested in, and I feel like Gas is a warrior from the beginning of the arc all the way to the end. He's been a warrior for decades now, so if he had the abilities that he has in the Dragon Ball Super manga at the end where he is the strongest warrior alive, I feel like all that training from him not wasting anything would come into contact with him being able to use the power ultimately. And he really didn't waste too much energy at the very end until he went into his really old form where he was just wasting everything. So I think that Vegeta's talking about the Gas that was the strongest in the universe. Frieza was at zero and attacked Gas, destroying him, but everybody says that in that split second, it seemed like when he punctured him and destroyed him, he may have tapped into black, and he may have done that, honestly. He may have done exactly what Vegeta's saying, and I think Vegeta confirms that. But lastly, Moro, because Moro isn't a combatant, he isn't a warrior, he was a magician. And to say that magic was able to hold all his ki in is kind of a cop-out. I think what he's talking about is when Moro goes into his angelic form and he starts, you know, being able to use it a little bit. I think that that's what he's talking about. He was kind of in perfect balance up until he starts basically decomposing. So this scene is still greatly improved from the movie because now we even have conversations on what these characters are doing and how they're not wasting energy and what Vegeta wants to do when he finally gets to that point. I love it. I actually really like these spoilers and these leaks. I'm excited to see what the actual chapter has and it has anything else that's new. So stick around and we're going to go ahead and get to it as soon as it drops.
Subscribe for more content. Or perish.